Hi, this is Nick here from OnlyFabs. Now, my hopes and dreams for Everfest were a singing Steelblade type of card, but what we got was insane, right? It works really well with coppers, and we even got some more tools. Now, the equipment, that didn't change by much, but what was really interesting is swing twice. And that's good in a 2 card hand, because you just need a yellow pitch now. So there's no driving blade requirement with a blue pitch. Um, of course, it has the same weakness as Driving Blade, with the blue and the yellow one being meh-ish. But the fact that it's a reaction makes for a completely different game. I'm just going to go through the Everfest cards, and we will talk about the impact of a couple of cards later on. Now, Outland Skirmish, well, I wrote it down. It speed ups copper, and it makes blood on hand really faster. It's not more threatening, but just one hit, it has 2 coppers. And we'll mention how many coppers can do what later on, but it also presents a relevant on hit. So I wrote a question mark here on the blue one. Why? Because if you get to the late game, don't expect to hit, right? There will be plenty of blocking, so on hits are enticing to block, and you want to grab cards from their hand, so to say. Not that they can just sit there and take their turn. Special cases when you have something in arsenal and Command and Conquer is being slapped at you, you know you need to block, right? Outland Skirmish presents this type of decision making for your opponent, which is quite frankly really interesting and a card that definitely should be tested. Well above the curse is this Slice and Dice. The blue Slice and Dice being just a general good pitch card and doing 2 damage to both your attacks. And the red Slice and Dice, well, that's second swing, but for 0, which the curve is being dropped by so much. And into the swing also not being Iron Song dependable, where they need to block. Although there is this caveat of you having to need to attack twice, right? But in Kassai, this is your core game plan. So 0 for +3. I'm on board. Now, looking at my old list, well, I tuned this over the course of 2 skirmishes, played plenty of armories in between, to the point that I was kind of sick of the deck. Yeah, fairy kids. Dive on your pet deck, but sometimes play something else. So, well, it doesn't really matter if that's second swing or what. But yeah, when the new cards dropped, I was instantly, yeah, I need to test this. But I am still overwhelmed by the options. Well, an evident option is, oh, let me see. Is it? It's not working. Ah, an evident option is Blade Runner, right? Replacing driving blades with Blade Runner is something you shouldn't even think about, and that will drop the curve by a ton. Now, one of my first iterations of the deck, and I'm not saying it's the correct one, but just removing those driving blades, those 6 cards that cost 2, drops your curve significantly, and now you can actually, with Blade Runner, have sufficient pitch with just 1 yellow card. So that's a swing once, pay 1 for the sword, Blade Runner, and then your second sword hit is free. So that's 1 yellow pitch and a Blade Runner, and then presenting 2 and 3 or 5, which is comparable to how Driving Blade did it. But now, let me just pick up the card here. Driving Blade did, but Blade Runner does it better because it's a reaction, so you leave your opponent guessing. Will it be +3 on this attack, or will it be something else, like, say for instance, an Outflow Blood or something. But not swinging twice makes for awkward turns. Now I wrote that down because here you see we just replaced the Blade Runners with, or the Driving Blades with Blade Runners, and we leave the Hidden Run and such intact. But Warrior's Valor is getting interesting. At least it's something that I want to test. Just because if you attack with a Warrior's Valor, it presents an annoying on hit, and you used to only have Glint. But now you also have Blade Runner, so if they block and you do not get the on hit, you have a Blade Runner up as a backup. But in the other hand, you if they don't block, you have your cheap go again, and you can maybe arsenal the Blade Runner. Of course, you will be putting down some damage by not playing a Blade Runner, but for me it was an interesting line of thought because I was thinking also about X Dorinthia, and this interaction came up. So I think it's interesting. Do we need to test it? Oh, I got trouble enough finding space in this deck already. So, but I wrote here, not swinging twice, make for awkward turns. So what I said about the deck is kind of stuffed. You need to be wary, I think you need to be wary about having too much reliance on that second sword swing. Maybe there needs to be some cards that can just buff that first sword swing and just finish the game straight out there and then. But don't tune your deck too much just based on one game. So I had one game where I didn't draw my my go against for 2 turns. Now this can happen. It's a TCG. I didn't lose the game, but it made for some awkward turns and made me think and reconsider a slice and dice push forward second swing and into the swing in one deck. Okay, this is just me rambling on. I'm trying to convey all the information and all the thinking that I've been doing in a video. Now the specializations that have been increased with Cassian, Blood and Hands and Nourish the Emptiness. I was jokingly telling that Nourish the Emptiness is a specialization in Cassian, but the curve dropped by a ton. 2 cost is now significant. We want to reduce blue cards. We play more blue cards than we used to do, maybe even because of Outland Skirmish and such. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. More people agree. Are we right? I don't know. Join us on the Discord and actually have a debate on it. Not me monologuing. That's not achieving anything. A good discussion on the Kassai Discord, and there are tons of guys and girls who are absolutely a blast to discuss with and are hyped and pumped to get this puppy going as badly as possible. But my thoughts. But I'm thinking maybe just one cash-in is enough right now. From my experience, having Nourish and 2 cash-ins, you either draw one. You draw one on the perfect time. Maybe you draw one early, but then in the mid game or the late game you draw the second one. So this is something I'm tinkering with. Only testing will tell what the right numbers are. Now the modes. This is something that's interesting just because you need to get a good grasp of what modes you can pop, and it will make all the difference between a good Kassai player and an excellent Kassai player, knowing which modes he can pop off and when. So that was to get your attention. 3 coppers and a go again allows you to pay for 3 modes, right? So that swing twice and on 1 sword gets go again. I also need 3 pitch. Kind of skipping the pitch costs here because you just need experience with noticing how your hand will block out and whatnot. But in general, if you have a go again, especially a hitter on hand, you can swing twice and give 1 sword go again, and then 1 sword needs to have go again from a card in your hand, and that last attack it doesn't need go again. Same goes for 4 copper, just give the sword +1, and 5 copper, 1 sword go again +2. If you don't have go again or the pitch, vary modes accordingly. This will be player experience. Of course, you can scribble it down all together. I think it's a healthy and helpful exercise to get intricate knowledge of your deck. Now, +1 on 1 or 2 swords, that's also interesting. If they have a ton of D-reacts, I think you need to split them out just because you don't give them the value of the sinking your 4 attack, sink below that is, or flick flag for that matter, or whatever. Or if they have non-attacks or attacks to block out your saber swings. So especially if they have attack actions that +3 on or attacking for 3, so +1 on each and every sword, it's really good, right? Because you will connect, gain coppers, and be an annoying chipping machine. So here I was tinkering with the deck. What will I take out? So Blade Runners are obvious, and now we're looking at Outland Skirmish just because of the additional copper generation, because you have more outlets for it. You used to need 4 You maybe hit 8, but that second one isn't being played too often, only with spoils 4 turns, but you haven't lived if you haven't played cash in into cash in off of spoils 4 turn. I digress. Outland Skirmish, I think it has the red one, especially with Sharpened Steel, as true potential just because the curves dropped. And now you're presenting a sword swing for 2. Most likely will be a Blade Runner. Okay, so I will take this 2 because I need to block out the second swing, which will be much bigger with Blade Runner and Outland Skirmish and a Sharpened Steel, right? Or maybe it even baits out an equipment just so they don't chip too much, bleed too much damage. And this also make Iron Song Determination push forward really interesting. But long story short, Outland Skirmish, Sharpened Steel, these flat 3 buffs, I think should be played. Although there's something to say that you need to play Outland Skirmish first, because it is for the entire turn. It will generate a copper for a sword that will hit that turn. But still, Warrior's Valor, if I want to try it. So probably second swing then, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, the deck's getting pretty full as it is. I don't know what will be the optimal list. I've been tinkering mostly with Rainbow Outland Skirmishes. And I will be sure to link my final list in the descriptions. But to be frank, join us in the Discord and have a discussion with anybody there, because there are a ton of people, especially Cactus, who is, how do you say it? Zealous. Yeah. Zealous about actually making Kassai work. There's also, I don't know all the guys and girls and them that are around there, but just join us. It's a hell of fun. And some thoughts that I always try to be, always trying to finish up my videos with a philosophical message. But yeah, I'm just gonna read what I wrote down. Don't get discouraged by naysayers. Test that card. If somebody says, "Oh, that's bullshit," no, don't trust them on their words. If they have test data, sure. But if it's something that you think will suit the playstyle that you personally have, try it. Don't get discouraged. Test it. Focus on locally played heroes. So if you expect a lot of old imps, I don't play sigils. If you expect a lot of Icelander Kanos, play sigils. Don't tune your deck based on one game. Especially if you have a buddy. Just 3-4 games. Maybe switch out 1 or 2 cards between games. But mostly play what you like and enjoy the game, not the results. Thanks for listening.